Hello everyone. I am fashionably late, a whole 14 minutes. How are you guys doing? So I'm going to double check and make certain I am live everywhere. Let's see. Hopefully I'm live on Facebook. Hello my Facebookers. Talking about dogs today. Hello Facebook, I'm live there. Believe I'm live on Twitch. Oh, I have so many apps on my phone. This is just like, what? I think I'm live on YouTube. Ah, hello, just another human. I'm live on Periscope, it would seem. Gosh, all the apps, such a short time for all the things, to get all the things done. How are you guys doing? And I'm live on YouTube. Hello. Let me hop over into my community. I am live. Live all across the way. All right. I'm live on YouTube. Hello everyone. All right. So, today we've got dogs. All the dogs. Woof woof. So, I actually did, once upon a time ago, I did the science of dogs like a few years ago. See guys, I've been like doing SciComm for a few years. And when I started, I streamed off my phone. So if you want to hop over in the Wayback Machine, if you're on Periscope, you scroll far enough back, you'll find all of my really early episodes of the science of where I streamed off my phone, which was actually quite funny. So that's fun. And I broke like all kinds of rules, including streaming from like this, up and down. So like streaming from up and down like that on my phone. And so it's like very vertical. So if you want to have a good laugh, go hop over on my playlist, the early days of the science of on YouTube, and you can go and have a good chuckle. But here we are in the new format. We're going to talk about all the cool things associated with dogs. So let's go ahead and get started. Woohoo! Let me find my video. Maybe I can find my, there it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So how are you guys? I have got I got a new thing that I'm doing, so I'm trying to incorporate chat down here, and it doesn't look, it looks like Ray's comment is cut off a little bit, so let me see if I can, yeah, so crud, how am I gonna do this? Let me see if I can fix my chat a bit. I love dogs. It should say I love dogs, shouldn't it? You know, well, Ray, we're not cooking with dogs. Dora, you funny. We are not cooking with dogs. Why would, and unless, you know, unless our dogs are involved in making the food. We could have dogs that are making the food. Oh, you watched a little bit of my original dog video. Yes, it's very different from what I'm doing now. It's like I grew up a little bit. I grew up and I've evolved myself in what I'm doing. I have a couch over there, so I used to sit there from my couch and hold pieces of paper and talk about the things. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about how it is. Hi Mel, intro sound played both left and right audio channels. Your mic only on the left channel. Huh, that's weird. Let me see. Let me see if I can my mic a bit. I don't know if that helps or not. Mic only on the left channel. All right. I'm not certain how to fix that, but I do try to fix things on the fly if I can. So they played on both left and right. Okay, cool. Hopefully this fixed it now. I turned up my mic a bit. So we are going to talk about doggies, doggos, dogs, puppers. It's fine now. Awesome. Okay. So how did dogs come to be? How many breeds are there, and what kind of ethical issues are associated with that? You know, there's lots of different things that I'm learning in the whole evolution of dogs thing. There's so much coming back and forth from in regards to what scientists have to say, and so it's pretty interesting on the different things that scientists are argue. Argue is such a strong word. It's more like debate or contradicting each other. There's lots of contradicting information in regards to how and when is it that dogs started to become domesticated. So I'm finding, and I've learned a lot since the first episode when we were talking about dogs. There's more evidence that's come out. So yay on that. So I actually have some new stuff to talk about. Hello everyone. Happy Saturday. We're talking about doggos, and I have my own doggo named Frodo. Got him at right before Christmas. He's a rescue, and so picked him up from the Humane Society. Adopt, don't shop. So let's talk a bit about man's and ladies' best friend. All right. So what are we talking about when we're talking about doggos? So let me swap over here, and I'm going to bring the chat back here in a second. I'm trying a new thing, guys. I'm trying all kinds of different ways to incorporate you into my chats. I think this is not this one, not this one, not this one. Where is the chat going to go? This one. Here we go. I'm trying to incorporate the chat more in my talks because you guys always say like lots of fun and cool things. And so I'm trying to, I have different screens now that I can do. So you'll have to bear with me as I work through the screens so I can get you guys involved in the show as well. Hello, Snarky. Hello, everyone. Doggos. Woohoo! So here's a little bit of the breakdown of what we're talking about when we're talking about the doggos. We have about 400 distinct breeds now. Artificial selection is pretty much how it is that they came to be, but there's a little bit of interesting stuff on that. It starts out not artificial selection, but then it becomes artificial selection. Yay! There's two possible domestication events that appear within mitochondrial DNA when it comes to our friends, the doggos. And so that's where we're seeing some dispute about where they appear. Some say right around the time of agriculture, a little bit prior to. Some say even further back than that is when the domestication started. Another really, really cool thing. Human and dog brains are kind of in sync a little bit. Dogs have kind of hijacked a portion of human brains. So, hello, I'm so glad you guys are here too. Frodo, that was his name when I got him. So Frodo was actually his name when I got him. And I thought, you know what, he's just going to stick. And I can't understand why it is that he was in the shelter for so long. Because he's absolutely freaking adorable. So, you know, who knows? Frodo does not have a magic ring. He does not have the ring. I've actually tried to see, I'm playing with my hair, guys, sorry. I'm actually trying to see if I can find a collar that looks like the One Ring. But, you know, they want a lot of money for those. When I was in college, the estimate time for first domestication was 50,000 years ago. Might have been, you know, was it 500? Did you say 500 or 50,000? let's see. Let me go back. Scroll. 50,000. Yeah, so there's apparently 2 domestication events, it would seem. 2 that they're finding, and that's found within the mitochondrial DNA, which is pretty interesting. Oh, I hear Frodo. Frodo, come here. You want to be on the show? I'm trying to see if I can get my dog. Come here. He's like, not today. And he just walks right out. Frodo does not want to be on a show about dogs. He doesn't like being in this room in general. I think it makes him nervous because we have so many things that he's not allowed to touch. So, yeah, there you go. Anywho, so let's talk a little bit about good old doggos. Frodo the doggo. All right. So, when we were talking about this, here we go. Boom. More chat hanging out right here. So, essentially, what's going on with the doggos in our lives? So dogs are, in many ways, our evolutionary best friends. So how did they become this way? There are several working theories. The main theory focuses on dog domestication prior to early agriculture, approximately 14,000 years ago. Hello, Wonder Lady. Hello, everyone. So approximately 14,000 years ago, that's where we see the domestication of the dogs that we have around right now. However, there are fossils that date back to about twice that, which leads to the idea that domestication has happened twice. Now, mitochondrial studies, DNA studies, also suggest that a divergence from the common ancestor happened twice with dog domestication. So what we can confirm is that dogs are the oldest pets humans have ever had. And dog domestication also aided hunter-gatherers. Dogs made hunting better. Now let's have a look at this BBC video discussing dog evolution and the possible impact it had on the development of our very own human agriculture. Hello, I'm so glad GI's all right. You had like an awful time of it, didn't you? So let's have a look at this particular video on dog domestication. Now this comes to us from BBC Two. So I hope they don't shut down my live stream because I'm an educational channel. So hopefully we'll see. So this comes to us from BBC Two. So have a look.
It's hotly debated exactly when dogs were domesticated. But there's one thing that both archaeologists and geneticists agree on. Our relationship with dogs goes back thousands of years further than with any other pet. It was a time when we were still hunter-gatherers.
Dogs were certainly the first animal to be domesticated, and they fit into hunting and gathering societies probably better than any other species out there.
This stage when we're hunting and gathering and killing wild animals, after you finish with them, you're creating a relatively large pile of bone and leftover meat, things that these wolves would have been very attracted to. Those wolves that were able to take advantage of that resource and were a little bit less afraid and could approach the human camp were then setting themselves up into a closer relationship with humans.
We are carnivores, we are social carnivores, we hunt in groups, and we hunt in daylight. There are not many other species that do that. The wolf is a social carnivore that hunts by daylight, and therefore I think there's natural potential for teamwork between those two species.
We became much better hunters with dogs. We are more successfully taking down large game, which means we have more food to eat, which means we can have more offspring, which means the overall populations of humans grow.
Dog domestication may have helped pave the way for a fundamental change in human lifestyle.
It's hard to see how early herders would have moved and protected and guarded their flocks without domestic dogs being in place. And one has to wonder whether agriculture would ever really have made it as a viable alternative to hunting and gathering.
Some believe that the influence of dogs on our development was not just important, but pivotal.
Dogs absolutely turned the tables. Without dogs, humans would still be hunter-gatherers. Without that initial starting phase of dog domestication, civilization just would not have been possible.
All right. So, let's see. Here we go. Boom. So, yeah. Hey, we didn't get shut down. Domestication of a super predator was one of mankind's best ideas. We still benefit it. Yes, we do still benefit from it. So there's lots of different things that are pretty cool about the domestication of dogs and things that we're still learning. And the thing that I really think is pretty interesting, especially about this particular video, is that since the domestication happened like prior to agriculture, I mean, it was within the wolves' best interests. And a few of them, you know, they kind of, and I'll talk about this in a bit, but the thing that's really cool about it is we would absolutely need dogs to help us kind of keep our herds together. And we do, you know, we still have cattle dogs, and they're still really, really strong skills that these cattle dogs have, and they're considered some of the smartest dogs and dog breeds. Let's see, is it the border collies? They're still used, heavily, especially when it comes to herding, and they respond to the human cues so well. Yes, hemp hill. I am going to talk about the foxes. You know, so that's pretty important study that they did there with the foxes. Let me get this together. I actually have a pretty cool graphic. So let me get you guys going with this. I think, there it is. Clicked it right on the first time. Boom. Many routes to domestication. So dogs are the only large carnivores we have ever domesticated. Ever. And this image comes to me from Discovery. And they were the first of many animals to live alongside humans, but dogs are our oldest pets. Okay, so the dogs that we see now were probably around 14,000 years ago is when we started. As we get more information, things like this graphic here will be changing. And then we started agriculture right around 10,000 years ago. So there were many routes of domestication of dogs, but they're showing that there were at least 2 domestication events. But what we're finding out also is that dogs were probably self-domesticated. And that's where we're getting with the fox study. They probably self-domesticated. We didn't go actively getting dogs and taking wolf pups. Some people think we took wolf pups and started growing them to do things for us. But it's more than likely that they actually started to self-domesticate. So there's still a lot of back and forth on that. But essentially, let's talk a little bit about how dogs and human brains kind of have become in sync with one another. So essentially, not only have we played a role in what we call artificial selection, where we select the best traits with particular dogs and we breed them together. Dogs actually do have, and I talk about this in my older episode. If you want to check out Early the Science of, check out my older episode where I talk a bit about how it is that dogs actually can, it's a weird thing about them. The reason why we have so many breeds is because they actually can evolve pretty rapidly, and we can actually get them to exhibit certain traits a lot faster than we can in other animals. So artificial selection, if you're not familiar with that concept, you basically pair living things together that can breed together in order to get specific traits. We do it all the time. That's early genetic engineering. So for people who are like, GMO is bad, honey, we've been doing that for a very long time. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's the entire basis of agriculture is based on genetically modifying organisms. And if you're not certain about how that works and how the modern day version of that is with GMOs, check out my episode on GMO. I have one of those. All right. So with dogs, the thing that's gotten really cool, something that people don't understand, is a thing called coevolution. So coevolution is a thing where a species evolves and we evolve along with that species, which is awesome. So dogs, and while we've helped the evolution of dogs, we have actually evolved along with them. So one of the ways that we've evolved with them is that we have developed a deeper connection with them. So dogs and human brains have now become in sync with each other. Dogs recognize human cues quite a bit and have become quite reliant on us. And we have developed a strong connection to them. So we have co-evolved to become connected. Dogs fire off our maternal bonding system portion of our brains. We have become connected to dogs on a biochemical level. Dogs also have become reliant on us in that they no longer rely on each other as a species. Studies have shown that dogs may be able to do some problem solving as their wolf ancestors do, but they still default to humans to solve their problems. They use humans to solve their problems. And they use human cues to carry on with what the next step is that they need to do. So they work to try to understand what it is that we are saying to them. This as a whole means that dogs cannot survive as a species without humans. Dogs also seek prolonged interaction with humans. Now, there are some working theories that wolves sought domestication and that it may not be humans that initiated these interactions. Hunter-gatherers are appealing to certain aloof wolves back in the day, and that these hunter-gatherers have food and have access to food. So those wolves who sought food and who sought human interaction have a higher advantage of working with humans to gain access to resources. Dogs likely domesticated themselves. You know, mind blown, man. Dogs are way smarter than we realize. So let me catch up on some of this chat. Let's see. Yeah, it is impressive on how few generations it took there. So everything we eat is GMO except wild fish. Yeah, you're right there. I think my cats feel they own me. This might be partially true. I've heard that dogs are the only canines that bark. A hypothesis is proposed that barking is an attempt to talk. It might be, but also barking is quite useful, especially if you use dogs for security. Let's see. Cats equal one day I will kill it or it will die. I better stay wild. Dogs, you never die, okay? That's true. What about the dingo? They did well. They did do well. They're doing all right. And it's interesting because dingoes and coyotes are very similar, and you can actually breed them together. So, am I off my rocker? I don't know. I bark at GI sometimes. It's my attempt to make him understand the words coming out of my mouth. Nice cup. Thank you. Black Panther. Epic film coming back to theaters for a free showing. Check that out, man. Wakanda forever, man. Princess Shuri is my favorite Disney princess. Boom. That's why every Sunday is Shuri Sunday on Twitter. So, dogs will also look where humans point. Yes. The movie was amazing. You guys need to absolutely go and see Black Panther. All right. So, dogs likely domesticated themselves. There's actually DNA evidence for this. You're like, how is it? You know, and people are like, well, how do we know these things? DNA, man. DNA is freaking amazing. So, there's DNA evidence that reinforces these whole ideas. Friendly dogs have a genetic sequence that is intact, similar to that in aloof wolves. You know, wolves that are not aggressive. And these wolves do not necessarily act like other wolves with, you know, this strong aggression. Humans also have a gene that recognizes friendliness. It's called Williams-Barron syndrome. This is a condition involving exceptionally trusting and friendly behaviors. So we have genes that recognize friendly behaviors. Now, cuteness. Now, this was the Russian fox study, I think, that Hemphill was saying. So, in Russia, they have some domesticated foxes, which is pretty interesting. Foxes have learned what humans find cute. So the cute things in foxes, they kind of allowed themselves to be domesticated. And so that in turn caused humans to start breeding these domesticated foxes to be even more adorable. with, much like with dogs, with the cute floppy ears and the cute little noses and the furriness, and, like, oh, wow, the puppy head tilts. My heart melts now. Things like that. Dogs who were friendly kind of got cues on what humans liked. So once it's pretty interesting how that works. And so, like, the dogs that wanted prolonged human interaction, they tend to get a bit more cuter. And so they learned what human cues were that allowed them to gain access to resources. And thus, in turn, humans took them in and were like, this dog is cute. This dog has floppy ears. And so, wow, this dog's really friendly. Wow, this one's really cute. Let's get the cute and friendly together. Boom, we have a cute and friendly puppy. We're going to just cultivate and breed more of these cute and friendly things. Well, we also see this in domesticated foxes. So, that particular study, those were social foxes. So this particular study involved breeding friendly foxes who in turn developed this high level of adorableness. So we have lots of evidence that suggests that dogs sought domestication to a degree, which is pretty cool. The foxes in the Russian experiment also wagged their tails. I want a domesticated fox now. I think I want a domesticated fox. Same. If I'm invited to someone's house for a party, I hope there's a dog. Ain't it the truth, man? Ain't it the truth? So, I hope there are more dogs than people. Well, here's the thing. At a party, you hope there are more dogs than people at a party. Oh my goodness. I have DNA that says, ooh, humans. Oh, goodness. Thank you, Miss Snarky. I appreciate that. I'm trying to catch up on all the chat because I do have stuff that, I don't know if you guys know. I actually do have a script sometimes of things that I want to hit. And so it's always a fun challenge to go between the things that I know that I've kind of scripted to the, interaction with the questions. So it's pretty interesting with that. Sorry, that was the weakest Marvel movie. I don't know, man. I freaking love Black Panther, man. I thought it was great. It also hit pretty hard, especially at the end, with the history that white people have had, especially in settling this country and the slavery thing. I mean, that's a thing that's, that is a part of our history, and it addresses that, which I think is really, really, really important for us to kind of acknowledge and not pretend it didn't happen, because it did, Foxes are adorable. I love dogs. There's a case of a dog in Alaska that was about to be eaten by a polar bear, but struck a playful pose. The bear played with it and came by every year to play with the dog. Dogs are just like charming, man. Hey, Jags. Hey, how are you? Staggers and Jags. Let's see. So, good morning from New Zealand. How are you? So, hello. Hello, everyone. I want a pet skunk. I do not want a pet skunk. It can just get mad at me one day and then I'm going to stink for a while. Yeah. It's interesting. So what's particularly interesting, especially with dogs, is that, people have, and here's where I'm going to talk a bit about ethics. Here's where I'm going to talk a bit about ethics. Dogs are 100% reliant on people, unless they find some way to revert back to being in the wild, which we have evolved them so much to where that's almost gone. They're just not meant to be in the wild. They're meant to be with people. And so in a way, people have a huge responsibility to dogs. We, as a species, evolved this species to be reliant on us and to do things for us. And so, in a way, it's an evolutionary betrayal for the way that many people treat our evolutionary best friends. And we have, as a society, a duty, and as a species, a duty to dogs because of what we have done with them. So it makes me quite angry it makes me quite angry that we still have puppy mills, that we don't need to do more things to dogs. You know, we don't need more of that. Also, the designer dogs. The designer dogs really, really upset me, especially with pugs. There are certain breeds of dogs that are just not healthy. And these designer pugs, where they have really, really, really flat snouts, and they have a very difficult time breathing. Their very existence is painful, but they're like, oh, they're so cute. We just carry them around like that. We have, you know, there's ethics is extremely important, especially in the fact of what we've done with dogs. You know, we need to be more rigorous. And I'm really, 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 really glad that there are new laws that are coming out that make animal cruelty a felony. So I really think it's important that we understand that, and we need to consider genetic modification on the artificial selection, especially with the puppy mills, on that certain breeds. It's cruel to continue certain breeds because of the fact humans have generated these breeds to where they can't breathe properly, and it's all aesthetics. This dog looks cute this way. Doesn't matter if he doesn't breathe so great, and he's probably not going to live very long, but he's cute in my purse. We've got to get rid of that. That's cruel. That's terrible. And we as a species, it's, to me, this is a biological and evolutionary betrayal to another species, because we are responsible for the evolution of dogs. And, you know, not only is it just cruel to do dogs that way, but it's cruel to continue to do dogs that way, especially when we know that. I'm walking through the city, so you're in my ear now, but I can't type for about 10 minutes. Okay, he chill. Let me catch up on all the chat and see what I'm missing. Yes, I'm glad there are new laws too. Thoughts on black Labradors? I have one and love him to death. I love all kinds of dogs. I grew up with different kinds, but we mostly had rescues. I've only had one dog that was like considered a pure breed, and that was a Chihuahua, and he lived a very long time, like 15 years. But most of the time I've just always had rescues. I haven't had anything else. But black Labradors are pretty. Seems like a strange pet. House Skunk says pets. Some breed dogs like they are toys to look at. Yeah, and I think it's cruel. That's absolutely cruel. It was hard to get an apartment, so we ended up having to give it to a petting zoo. I cried. Aw, I'm sorry. A ferret would be cool too. You know, ferrets are kind of neat. I always wonder when a new breed comes out what disadvantages they've got. You know, it's interesting. You can actually dig down and find out what type of medical issues these different breeds have. So you can actually do a little bit of research. I always have just adopted, except for once I did shop. But every other time I've ever had a dog, we've just adopted. Either from the pound or from the Humane Society. I tend to move towards the Humane Society because of our local Humane Society only takes in sick, abused, or injured animals, and then they rehabilitate them, and then I go there and then I pick them up. I mean, it's just amazing what they do. So I tend to do that. I prefer getting a dog from the pound. Yeah. You know, it's possible that this is why mutts are healthier. I haven't really dug in on much of that, but when you think about it, most of the time when you mix up the gene pool, you tend to have better results overall with, we see that in humans. So why wouldn't that be the case in dogs? In some so-called pure breeds are actually mutts. But, you know, if you stick to a pure breed, they tend to have the same health problems. over and over and over and over again. If you mix things up and a health problem happens to be a recessive trait, and you have another breed that doesn't have that health problem, but they might have a different one that's a recessive trait, you mix some stuff together, you tend to have you have a better chance of having a healthier dog, I would think, because a lot of traits tend to be recessive if they're disease traits, at least in my experience in my studies in genetics. I could be wrong, and if I am, please let me know. But my experience and what I've seen with genetics is that diseases tend to be recessive. And so if you're mixing up the gene pool, you have a better chance at having a dog or, a species thrive a bit better. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, DNA bottleneck. Yep. I got my first elk hound from a geneticist, very healthy dog. Oh gosh, there's another breed. Dog racing was like a huge thing, especially with greyhounds. So somebody told me about there's a lot of greyhound rescues because after a dog reaches a certain age, they would just shoot them because they're like, okay, once a greyhound reaches a certain age, it's like he's just a few years old, they would just completely euthanize the dogs, and then so there's a lot of different greyhound rescue organizations that go and try to save these dogs from being euthanized for no longer running in circles, and they don't know how to do anything else, and so they require a lot of little extra love, greyhounds. But I hear they're beautiful. I don't have one, so let's see. Selectively breed from multiple breeds. Why not? Although I think you might have a hard time getting a toy cup poodle and a German Shepherd together. A teacup poodle, that's like a toy poodle, and a German Shepherd would be like, they outlawed races in Florida, so now there are lots of them that need adoption. So people in Florida, go get you a greyhound. Okay, so there's lots of, apparently, Mrs. Snarky says that there's lots of greyhounds in Florida. So if you're in Florida and you're looking for a furry friend, go and check out greyhound rescues because they, it's really young, really young dogs that are out of commission. Just give them a stool, it will be fine. Oh my goodness, it is pretty sad how we treat animals, and it's funny. Well, let's see. I just asked my son if he thought women should be scientists, and he looked at me like I'm an idiot and said, "Yeah," with a duh. He's 7. Good point. Yeah, so let the toy poodle enter the veg like a cave. Oh no. Oh my goodness, man. I can't imagine that the toy poodle could be a mother of German Shepherd puppies. That would not work. I can't imagine that would work. Now my brain's like, what do those puppies look like? It's good gravy. Oh my goodness. So it's just, what in the world? Why is it that when it's about humans, we call it race, but with animals, we call it breed? Well, I mean, I don't think humans, there's really not, the only thing that's really different, we're more alike than we are different. So I don't know. I don't know. I think people use race and breed in general as a means to oppress others. So, I mean, it's just, you're talking about a small variation, and all it is more melanin in skin as opposed to others. They're extremely small variations. So I don't know. I don't know. I think because we use a lot of, I think there's just a lot of, we tend to not think of ourselves as any. Humans do like to think that they're separate from animals, but we are animals. I have a problem a little bit with this idea that humans are somehow better than animals. We do have the ability to leave the planet. I really like this series called The Human Universe by Professor Brian Cox. Amazing show. I think it's a 5-part series. And it talks about how it is that humans have evolved to become the only animals that we know of that have managed to leave the planet. But there's a lot of different things that fell into place in order for humans to evolve the way that we have. And he gets into that with that particular series. How is it that humans have evolved to build things, to engineer, to build rockets, to explore the universe? And we don't see that. And we don't have evidence of that with any other animals. I mean, we just don't have the evidence. So it's interesting. Humans are special in that regard. But we still need food, water, air. We still need other animals. And we need other organisms. But for whatever reason, we set ourselves apart on an elitist level. Like all of these things are beneath us. But if we were to lose these things, we wouldn't survive. So it's just, we have the class system. So if we're talking about selectively bred, we do have the class system. And if you look at the royal families in history, they're all inbred. So that's not necessarily a good thing. You have lots of history of mental illness within the royal families, as well as genetic disorders and death and stuff like that. So it's just, humans aren't always the best at these things, and this whole idea that some humans are better than others is on a genetic basis, on a biological basis, and that's problematic. And then the whole idea that we somehow are better than animals, but we absolutely need animals, and we need plants. I got nothing, man. So, history, arranged marriages were a thing. Yeah. Most of the selection is subconscious attraction. Yeah, to a degree, yeah. We do have sexual selection. But what we do is actually kind of weird. Like in the animal world, the men dress up. And they do the dances. And they work hard to get the ladies. And then here we have this idea that women are supposed to do a particular thing or be a certain thing. Which brings me, I do want to talk about, not in this particular episode, I do want to talk about Dr. Taylor Burroughs and that Matt Stevens guy, who were sitting there and seem to think that women have to do a certain thing in order to make themselves more appealing to men. That's a problem. And that doesn't really help, and it kind of constitutes and perpetuates this idea of rape culture and stuff. So I'm going to do another show about that another time. Thank you for reminding me about that, Ms. Snarky. Is a religious concept that animals are here to serve humans. I don't know. And then in Egypt, people served cats. So, I don't know. Maybe because we selectively breed dogs but not humans. We tend to not think of ourselves as animals, true. We tend to not do that. Dance for me, Jihad. When I taught biology, and I would get to the sexual selection portion, I would show what different animals do to attract a mate. And I would say, okay, guys, take notes. This is how you get you a lady. Oh, my goodness. Women still have this thing where we observe how a man dances to indicate if he's good in the sex. People still serve cats today, don't they? And there's a parasite. There's actually a parasite that's associated with their waist that can control the brain of cat owners. Perhaps we need to talk about cats soon. Oh my goodness. Goodness. So, let me bring you up to speed on what's been going on with my channel. So I have lots of different people contacting me about collaborations, which is really awesome. So I'm working on that. Andy from Sunday Science, hopefully we will have our first episode of Sunday Science tomorrow. I'm hoping that works out. I think we're going to talk about the flu shot. So I'm trying to sort out a time, and I'm working on with Andy to try to figure out what we want to do. He recently had the flu, and he was just like, oh gosh, you know, I want to kind of talk about the flu. And so Sunday, I think we'll have, so we're taking Sunday Science, and I had a show for my patrons for a while called Science Sunday School. And so we're kind of combining that together. And so we'll be talking about different things associated with science concepts, and things that interest us, and the latest and greatest in science, STEM, tech, and engineering mathematics. And so Andy's actually an engineer, and so he'll bring a bit more of the applied science, and I'll have more of the theoretical science. So we'll have Science Sunday School on Sundays. So that's going to start, I believe, tomorrow. So we're currently working on trying to get things together to have that. So every Sunday we'll have Science Sunday School. Saturdays you'll have the Science of, and about twice a month we'll have Spirited Science, where we talk about a particular scientist, their contributions. And if you're interested on being on my show, Spirited Science, hit me up. I'd love to have you. I'm always looking for new people. Not certain what's going on with This Week in BS. Might revamp the show, but we're going to see what's happening. So I'm talking to see how we're gonna talk about the latest and greatest in bad science. So I'm trying to, I think, finalize what I'm doing with that show. So that's happening, and I'm being contacted by different people to help them write their books and stuff, which is kind of cool too. So that's kind of neat stuff going on with that. So if you hit like, share, subscribe this video. If you're on YouTube, I'm also on Twitch, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Periscope. So let me take a moment to thank all of my patrons on Patreon, because they make what I do possible. So I'm going to take a moment to thank all of my patrons and tell them how much I love them. I do everything that I can. I do all of this. Most of this stuff is just me. I take care of all of this. This is, you know, everything that I do is just my stuff, and I stream to various platforms so I can boost scientific literacy. So James, Jen, Carl, Melanie, Patrick, Daniel, Stephen, Paula, Carrie, Cersei, Keith, Duke, James, Andy, Zachary, Tony, Bo, Stephen, Sarah, Chris, Graham, Dragnot, Godless Iowan, Jennifer, Richard, Doc, Fearsome, and Neil, and also NANA. I don't know why every time I format this, NANA pops off. So what I might need to do is just make some kind of rolling headline or something. So NANA, thank you. I don't know why you're not on here. I format the thing, and every time I format it, it messes up. But you're still important to me, and I want you to know that. That's you, yes. So thank you guys for contributing to my work. It's my hope to make this like my job. And right now I'm also talking to other people about starting a science communication convention. So I'm getting in touch with organizers to where it'll be like a SciComm Con, kind of like Comic Con, except for science. And so it might take a year to get that off the ground, but we're in the works now, and we're going to start a convention to make science accessible for everyone, of all ages. People need to rekindle their love of wonder and curiosity, and that's why I do this. It would be great if this was my job. It would be wonderful if I could just make this my full-time job. So if you can contribute at all, every single freaking dollar helps me, because I usually go in the hole with my own costs for this, what I do, but I do it because I love it, and it's needed. It's absolutely needed, especially in this current climate where anti-intellectualism and distrust of science and knowledge is growing and growing and growing. So we need to be louder than them. So thank you to my patrons. You make what I do possible. I'm trying really hard to do more stuff for you. So if you are a patron, and if there's something that you want me to do, tell me. let me know. If there's something you want special that's just for you, let me know, and I'll do it. And if you're a higher paying patron, please remember you have artwork that's coming to you. Just pick out a piece. I have exclusive artwork just for my show that my patrons get to see. And if you're a higher paying patron, I will send you a print to your house, an exclusive print just for you, limited edition of all of the stuff that we do. So I'm going to show you also my sources, because I do actually have sources for this stuff. I just don't make it up. I'm going to show you my sources in a second, but this is where you can find me everywhere on the internet, ScientistMel.com. I'm working on revamping my website. So if you happen to be a web guru, please let me know. I could do with the help, because I'm terrible at some things, and I concede that, but it'd be awesome. So patreon.com/ScientistMel is where you can find me if you want to help me out. I also have paypal.me/ScientistMel. If you want to just throw some bucks my way, that's fine too, and some people have. I'm on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook, as well as Twitch. Hopefully that, will help out. So here is some of my sources, and that's teeny tiny, so you can't see it. But Smithsonian Mag, they're there. ScienceMag.org. A Smithsonian Mag website is absolutely fabulous. So if you haven't checked out the Smithsonian website, they do have lots of information, and they have links to really good science articles. All of the stuff with dogs is just amazing. Bye, Adbert. All the stuff that's going on with dogs, we get so much new information there. And I do get teachers, guys. I have a teacher that's like, when are you going to do a video on molarity and solutions? So I'm doing lots of outreach with teachers, and they're coming in and they're giving me information. So I wanted just to kind of take a moment and let you guys know, my patrons, you help me out a lot, and I'm working with teachers and teaching them how to present content and making content for them. So I'm getting into classrooms as well. And so this is all, you guys help me get all this done and get it together. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. And if you like what I do and you can't throw any bucks my way, share my videos. Just boost this love of science and curiosity. That's another way to do it, which is really, really awesome. Mel squared. I wish there was 2 of me. That would make this a lot easier. Check out Brief Brain Facts on YouTube. Okay. I might chat with you sometime about 3D animation support. I would like that. And I want to do more short films and stuff. So I actually wanted to I used to be in filmmaking, guys, believe it or not. I used to make short films. So I kind of want to get back into that a little bit too, which means I'm going to have to upgrade some of my tech. But, that's just how it goes. And I'm willing to do that and get that going in order to keep boosting science communication, because we really need that. Plus, I am talking to different professors at universities that are interested in the work that I do, and wanting to bring that into new PhD programs for science communication. Maybe I'll get a PhD in that. That would be kind of neat, wouldn't it? But I do have professors at different universities that are inherently interested about my science communication efforts. And we might have some collaboration there, which would be really, really cool as well. So I am making progress towards different things. I'm just not super vocal about it because I'm weird like that. But we are moving in the right direction. And I still have like a news guy that wants to sit down and interview me about my science communication efforts. I have connections now at museums where we're getting involved to possibly do some teacher training. So that'll be really cool. Yay! So thank you guys for being here. So I'm going to end with Mr. Rogers. You always make each day special for me. You know how? By just your being you. So have a fantastic Saturday. I keep my videos up forever, so if you miss this live stream, fear not. You can watch it anytime you want, and I'm here every Saturday morning, unless I say otherwise. And I'll be here on Sundays soon, too, starting tomorrow. So have a fantastic day. Thanks for being here. Sending squishy science hugs. Bye.